What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to a special live edition of Smack Talk presented by SmarkOutMoment.com. This is the WWE 2016 Roadblock pay-per-view post-show. We're going to be recapping our thoughts on the event, giving our opinions about what transpired before the dust settles, and we have time to really mull over what happened and see what happens on Monday Night Raw that follows it up with, and anything else that would go on the road to WrestleMania. But before we get started, let me introduce you to the panel that will be talking tonight. I am your host, Tony Mango, and joining me on the call right now is Mike Payton.
Rap is crap, but this show was pretty good.
We might have some others joining us later on. We don't know exactly for sure. But we also know that we do have you guys live in the chat on Mixlr, so we're going to toss out some of your comments now and again if anything stands out to us. And let's just get right into this right now with our first match of the night, which was the WWE Tag Team Championship. The New Day defended against the League of Nations. And there's two members from the League of Nations that wrestled were Sheamus and King Barrett. So something to mention is that not only was this a heels versus heels match, but it was in Toronto. And Toronto is one of those notorious areas where they could cheer heels over babyfaces in almost any situation. I got a feeling they might have been a little bit confused when it came to this match. What do you think about that, Peyton?
So you think they wanted to cheer for the heels, but because this was a heels versus heels match, they couldn't decide which one they wanted to cheer for?
Yeah, kind of. Because somebody, I think it was Peter, had brought it up in our Mega Maniacs chat of what do I think about babyface Sheamus, and I thought that the New Day sounded more like babyface.
Well, you know here. What? I originally assumed the New Day was the baby faces too, but then they won via devious means.
Yeah, it's
and that just completely threw the whole dynamic off for me. I don't know what the hell happened.
I don't know. They sort of played babyface at the beginning of it, kind of, with that promo about the Bootios thing, which we all have criticized in the past. It's not funny. But that was sort of like, we're going to take jabs at the heels, and when the League of Nations came out, they didn't have any kind of response that could have been like a babyface response. So that felt like a babyface promo against a heel to me.
Did they even say anything?
I think that Sheamus mumbled stuff about not looking stupid, but like they never grabbed a mic, I don't think. So it was just kind of like, hey, fuck you. That's about it. But I was actually kind of impressed with this match overall. I liked the dynamic of seeing heel versus heel. It's just something to change it up a little bit, keep it fresh.
I think people are very often closed-minded about going into those kinds of matches. Your big headline matches, you're probably not going to want to do heel versus heel, but you can have them on the card. You just got to make sure it's a good match. And these were all professionals here. Whatever Wade Barrett's situation is, he's still underutilized. So to get to see him in a match like this, I mean, I don't know if he's been injured or what his exact situation has been. It's been very, very vague. But it was cool to see him in a match. Sheamus, I'm digging that he hasn't become completely irrelevant. I think this could be a good spot for him if this is something permanent, which is why I was hoping they would win the titles. I was hoping this would be something more consistent, and I guess that still could happen, but New Day won pretty decisively here.
I think that Barrett, well, I know that Barrett was injured before, and if he's cleared to compete right now, he's got to be, not injured right now, but there were rumblings around before that he was going to be leaving soon. So it wouldn't surprise me if they make him the jobber out of this on a recurring basis, continuing going forward, just to make it so the other three don't lose. Just sort of, he's on his way out, we don't have any stock in him anymore, that kind of thing. But it's a shame, because Barrett's awesome. And we've been talking about Barrett for years now, about how they really need to give him better stuff, and he's better than what they give him credit for, and the only thing that really bites him in the ass is the fact that he gets injured now and again. But then again, anytime that dude gets something good going for him, it seems like they don't want to really push it all that far. And I was actually kind of, part of me at the very least, was hoping that the League of Nations would have won tonight. Same as you.
Well, you know what I think it is? And now that I'm starting to put this all a little bit more together and reading more things in the chat room here, what it probably is going to end up being is that the League of Nations are going to continue to feud with the New Day, but they're going to have to try different combinations. And whatever combination wins, which I have a feeling might be Del Rio and Rusev, is going to be the final combination that finally gets those titles from them. And it's going to cause a rift within the League of Nations. And that'll be eventually their split.
You think like a 2-on-2 split, or just like one person leaves?
Yeah, 2-on-2, and then eventually they can split into their 1-on-1s. See, that provides a lot of storylines going out.
Possibly, yeah. And if you could take somebody out of that team and make them a babyface or something, or even just heel versus heel still.
You know what? I'll go ahead and say it. have it split. Have Del Rio and Del Rio and Rusev be a tag team for the better part of this year. They could actually stay a team for longer, but have Sheamus and Barrett split off as the opposing team. Have them beat Del Rio and Rusev, but eventually Sheamus will turn his back on Wade Barrett. Sheamus can go back to being heel because that's what he's best as, and that could be the start of a Barrett babyface run and a really big run for him if you could take that opportunity.
I'd be cool with it.
If they're going to want to keep him around, if that's something they can promise him, that's something good to put on the table if you're willing to get behind him. And I tell you, when you're striving for stars and maybe you don't want to put all your faith in these indie guys, you wanted to have a guy you know has been around for a while and is a company guy and someone you could trust. Screw you if you're one of those people who just wants to say he's injury prone. He's as injury prone as anybody else.
Especially with this roster now. Shit.
True that. Okay, maybe he's not a guy you can do a world title thing, but at least he's a guy that you could have as a high profile, consistent guy. You know, someone like they've done with The Miz for years.
Right. And they've been trying to give that US and IC title credibility, give that a boost. Barrett's a great guy for that.
Mm-hmm.
Why not give him one of those titles and have him have like a pretty decent reign or something like that?
Perfect Intercontinental Champion. And the last run he had with that, I think he had it for like a month.
Was the last one that one, or was it the one where he dropped it like... Oh wait, no, that was beforehand. That was the one with The Miz, right? Where he dropped it and then like won it right back or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's forgettable nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that random pre-show match at WrestleMania 29, aka the worst WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah, that WrestleMania sucks so bad. God damn. Waste of money overall. But the New Day, they do retain here, and I'm not the most surprised, even though I did kind of think the League of Nations could have won here. Because in the end, I mean, they pointed it out. New Day have held those titles since SummerSlam. So it's kind of hard.
Didn't they lose him and get him back?
Yeah, it kind of doesn't count. They lost him to the primetime players. One guy who's gone for a while, and the other guy who, even when he's around, people are like, oh wait, Darren's here?
Yeah, I mean, they say 2-time champ, but they have held him for the better part of it. That's a fine thing to brag about. They have been basically the team for the last year.
Yeah.
Like the dominant force of the tag team division. So anybody to be able who's gonna beat them. And I don't, the more I think about it, it probably won't even be League of Nations that beats them for the titles. There's so many other things you can go with. You have Enzo and Cass potentially coming up on the roster, and they didn't get the tag titles tonight. The Dudley Boys, I think, are slowly creeping their ways up on the heel side. They could be someone who could go against the New Day, especially if they're going to be baby faces now.
Possibly. Yeah, I mean, I think the New Day, they could work as baby faces. It all depends on how they want to take that comedic edge that they used to have. Because nowadays it sucks. Now it's not going to get over as a babyface act.
I mean, the first time they try to be baby faces, at least they're not doing that same thing.
Right.
I think they just need to break up already.
Really?
Yeah. Just get the titles off them. Whoever you're going to put them on at WrestleMania, and just break these guys up.
Did you hear the rumor that their big WrestleMania entrance that they want to do is to come in on unicorns?
Like giant paper mache unicorns? Are they gonna put like a horn onto a horse?
I'm assuming like a horn onto a horse.
Or are they actually gonna find unicorns? Because I could believe they could pull anything off with WWE's budget.
Well, let's see. If they want to do something like they did with Sting last year, but just have like unicorns on the stage or whatever, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, if they come out with like giant pinatas that are on like trolley wheels, it's not gonna work for me.
Yeah. But they could have the same people as Sting with those the drums and stuff. They could just be hitting the pinatas. And they could be hitting it instead of that bum 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 kind of thing that they were doing. They could go bum bum bum. It's terrible ideas. What we had next? Next match was kind of an impromptu one. This was something that they didn't announce ahead of time.
Well, they had that sweet Jericho promo beforehand.
Yeah, it was Jericho came out and they just right away announced Jericho's got a match coming up, but let's have a promo first. And it was a really good promo. It was classic heel heat. Dude comes out, talks about how he's from Canada, but he's ashamed to be a Canadian.
He's the greatest superstar from all of Canada ever. The crowd starts chanting, "We want Brett." And he wittingly and quickly retorts, "You want Brett, huh? Yeah, well, he's never coming back."
Yeah, you're never getting him again. And then he says, probably my favorite line of the night, Canada literally stinks and Toronto is the anus. And then the fans immediately start chanting asshole.
Like, this is like some of the best one of the best heel promos he's ever done, I think. And he has a long, great career of them. And this was great to see him still have this in, because we've been questioning Jericho having it. And I don't know if it's just like because of that, but is it just me or does heel Jericho look younger?
It might just be you.
I don't know. He looked like he went back 5-10 years.
Well, he is doing the gimmick that he did 5-10 years ago.
Well, I mean, his skin didn't look as bad. His hair, it wasn't quite as douchey. He didn't have the ridiculous scarf on. He just had the jacket.
That's true.
So, I don't know. He's getting better.
He didn't have the vest with no shirt.
Does anybody have Jericho on their team? I'm going to have to get him back.
I think somebody does.
Yeah, I think Sean does. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I gave him for Brock Lesnar.
Out of the blue in this promo, though, he was just kind of like, yeah, you guys all cheer AJ Styles, huh? And Jack Swagger.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
And I thought it was just
yeah, just some random thing.
Just like personal beef, you know how like Foley used to always call out Al Snow. Like maybe that was just what Jericho was doing. But it's like, oh no, okay, we're gonna have a match. All right, well that was forced then.
Yeah, because I forgot already when he started talking that he had come out in his trunks and it was ready, announced that he was going to be in a match. And I was just assuming that he was just talking about Jack Swagger. Like, yeah, all you Canadians loving your AJ Styles and your fucking Jack Swaggers. And then it was like, wait, oh, he's going to wrestle. Oh, well, then he's going to wrestle Jack Swagger. Oh, well, then he's going to beat Jack Swagger. And he did. But I actually like this match quite a bit. I think these two work really well together.
Jack Swagger has always been a very underrated wrestler. Didn't these two fight each other during Swagger's title run?
I think they might have had 2 matches afterward or so.
I remember when Jack Swagger was really hot during that time. He had a sweet couple matches with Jericho somewhere. But yeah, these two definitely have good chemistry. And Swagger is another guy. I understand why they don't want to do anything big with him. And man, a lot of people don't like him. That I don't quite understand. I think he's one of the most overhated guys around. But I like him, and whenever he does come out, he usually delivers.
Swagger's the kind of guy to me that I always really appreciate when he can go out there and have a good match where somebody gives him the benefit of the doubt. And Jericho is usually good with that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't just make it a complete squash. He wants to show that Swagger's got some kind of an edge to him, because if Swagger looks good, then Jericho looks better by beating him. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't seem to do that. It's just well, Swagger's a chump and I'm going to beat the shit out of him. And I'll no-sell and I'll do most of my moves and he can't get his shit in, as you would say.
There was a lot of psychology. There's probably more psychology in this match than any other match on the card.
And it's got to be just because Jericho knows what the hell he's doing.
I'll take that back. Funny enough, I think the only match that might have had more psychology was the Divas match.
That's true. That was something that was surprising. But yeah, I liked this pairing, and usually I don't want to see any kind of rematches in a lot of capacities, and I don't want to make this a welcome thing where they can do this constantly or whatever, but we got a couple weeks left for WrestleMania, and I don't want Jericho and AJ Styles to fight really again, because we've seen it a bunch of times. I'd be up for another Jericho Swagger match just to eat up some of that time.
I mean, they got to do something on Raw and SmackDown, so I'm sure we'll see it on at least one, maybe both of those shows.
If not a tag team match. Have Styles and Jericho, Styles and Swagger against Jericho and, I don't know. Who's somebody that could pair up with Jack Swagger like that?
Maybe I could just bring in the Miz.
That's true, they could do Miz, because...
Yeah, Miz could be like, I've liked the cut of your jib lately, Jericho.
What's a jib? Our match after that was the NXT Tag Team Championship. The Revival defended against Enzo Amore and Colin Cassady. Before we get into actually what happened in this match, let me point something out here.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Apparently, Enzo and Cass are doing really great, because it wasn't just me that pointed it out. Cass looked bigger than normal.
Oh my gosh, he looked like a fucking as soon as he came out from the freaking stage, he was like, and I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking Frankenstein.
Jesus Christ, is it just because this guy's on a main roster thing and that's the difference? better cameras or something, but that was like impressive. And even Enzo looked better than normal. And it's weird to say that because Enzo is a weird looking kind of guy with the way that he's like styled his hair. And what was the thing that Cole said earlier? Something about like Enzo was one of the pandas at the zoo or something.
Oh, he did make some kind of reference to him in the pandas at the zoo. I didn't quite get it.
Something was ridiculous. I didn't quite understand what it was anyway.
Enzo always has crazy stuff going on with his hair, though.
Even he looked like a little bit more ripped or something than normal than I can remember him. And Carmel, of course, is fucking so good looking. But when those three came out, I was just like, damn, these guys look like they should be on the main roster. And then the Revival comes out and it's two fucking jabronis with this theme song that doesn't fit them at all. And they all look tiny compared to Cass standing out there and just...
Well, hell, so does Enzo.
Yeah, but he's like... It's kind of like having like a Joe Pesci next to you. Like, they're part of a team. And when you're supposed to take the other side seriously, I don't like Dash Dawson at all. I've never liked them.
See, I'm on a completely opposite side. I really dig these guys. There's something very, very old school about them. Of course, that's why they're called the Revival. They keep calling up to them being like the Andersons or the Brain Busters. And yeah, that's exactly who they remind me of. They look like these two tough Midwestern dudes coming out. They don't need to be pretty. They don't need to have a gimmick. They're just going to beat the shit out of you, take whatever's like the winning amount money or title or whatever it is, and come back next week and do it again. That's all they need to do. And for that, I think they are filling that role excellently. They look like a couple brawler dudes. They have some bulking up to do. They're not quite main roster ready. You're right. I see what you're saying about that. But I think they're more than capable. And I think the performance they had and the result they had just demonstrated how strong they actually are. Because this is now twice on a major event. They've gotten a clean victory on Enzo and Cass, who now look like a bunch of jabronis. So yeah, you could say they came out looking all tough and looking all ready. Well, not really, because they came up short twice now.
See, I don't think that they look bad at all. I think that they look like they should come up to the main roster.
What? Because they've lost twice?
Well,
cleanly? It was not even like they were cheated. It's not like there was weapons involved. It's not like there was even a distraction. They lost clean twice. How did they possibly look good?
Because they were dominating the match for the most part. And it was just one of those like fluke things where Dash or Dawson, I can't remember which one.
A fluke where they beat them with their finisher? Like a standard beating? That's
all
they had to do.
It was the whole thing with pushing Enzo from the top again, like we were talking about the last time.
If that's really the worst, most dastardly thing they did, then that's not bad. That's accomplishing what they're supposed to do within the rules of the match.
Yeah, true. But I think that when you look at like the two sets of the teams, which one are you going to put any kind of bank behind? Like Revival's not going to be getting a big reaction from the crowd or
seemed
really
like they were tonight.
People.
The crowd was pretty pissed at them tonight, just like they were at was it London?
See, I don't buy that as the Revival being the ones getting the heat, though. I think that that's people love Enzo and Cass so much that they're just pissed that they didn't win those belts.
That's how heat works, Tony.
But that's not
the situation. It gets directed at the people responsible for it.
But that's more so if Enzo and Cass were replaced with two other tag team members that weren't really as over, then it wouldn't be as strong of a thing because people wouldn't be like, "Oh, those dastardly Revival." It's more so,
right.
God damn it,
Enzo. It has to be done with people who care. It's just like when Kevin Owens eliminated AJ Styles, people cared.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, "Oh, we're gonna get a WrestleMania match between these guys because he eliminated them." But Kevin Owens eliminates fucking I don't know who else, fucking Hunico. Like no one gives a shit.
I haven't heard that name in a while. Hunico. They're like, wait, who's Hunico? So the Revival retains. It's pretty much the same exact thing that happened at NXT Takeover, as we mentioned before, where I mentioned it before when we were going over our predictions for it. I didn't think that Enzo and Cass really had much of a shot because this was just a way for the Revival to look strong again and to drop those belts at Dallas. American Alpha's winning them, for sure.
If that's the case, they shouldn't have even had this match.
You don't think this made them look better?
No. I think you could have had Enzo and Cass and put them against anybody else. Put them against the Ascension.
Oh, then nobody really would give a shit.
Yeah, but at least they could have won and looked good. Like, if the whole point was just for them to come out there and flex their muscles and talk to the crowd, introduce themselves, say, "Hi, we're Enzo and Cass. We're going to be here soon, and we're awesome, and here's some things we do." Then that's what they should have done.
Oh, I thought you were saying
out there and gotten beaten cleanly.
I thought you were saying the Revival against Ascension.
Oh, no.
That's why I was like, nobody would give a shit about that match.
No, because you don't have to introduce their rival yet. There's time for them.
Right. There's time for them to lose those tag belts on NXT and then to become the jobber tag team on NXT and then to eventually both get fired. Because they're not going to go to the main roster.
You'll see.
I want everybody to succeed at WWE, but at the same time, if I am willing to cut some people, those two would be towards the top of the list, I would think. I really don't see what's so great. But then again, I'm not the one in charge. So then again, if it's, we hear the storylines that are going down with the rumors recently, Vince McMahon doesn't like them either. So if Enzo and Cass do come to the main roster, do you think that it's better for them to come up before WrestleMania and to be involved in that? Or do you think that it's better for them to show up the night after WrestleMania?
I guess we don't really know what they're doing for the tag situation at WrestleMania, but at this point, I think it'd be way too fast to try to get them involved. At soonest, night after WrestleMania, I still think the best time is going to be SummerSlam weekend. You're going to be in Brooklyn.
Far down the line?
It's not that far. It's going to be a lot quicker than you think. But yeah, and that's why they should have won the titles if they were going to do this, because then there's time to stall with them doing a title run before they do it. And that's the perfect place to do it. They're in Brooklyn. It's a big, high-profile weekend. That's when you do it.
No matter what, they have to be a part of the roster by that point. That's like a guarantee.
I guess there's no have to. we said that like 2 years ago.
About Enzo and Cass?
Oh, yeah.
I would have thought that it gets progressively worse and worse as time goes on. Like, if they don't by that point, I think that it's ready to give up on them, almost. Just like WWE doesn't care, it won't happen, that kind of a thing. But that's a couple months down the line. Who knows? They could be popping up 2 nights from now on Monday Night Raw, for all we're aware. I don't think that's the case, but you never know. Sami Zayn kind of came up a little bit early from what I was expecting. Talk about him a little bit later, too. William Carey says showing up at Mania. Now, that one I don't think is happening for sure.
Yeah, WrestleMania debut like that is just weird.
The only way I could see them showing up at WrestleMania is if they had some kind of a gimmick going into it where it was like kind of like a tag team invitational.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're getting that this year. Maybe next year or something like that, and by that time they should already be up on the roster, but who knows? Brian Brain throws out, don't forget the Battle Royal. Totally not the spot for them.
Oh, Jesus.
No. Battle Royal is best for one person to look strong, and that's it. Or if you go by the first time, one person to look strong, and then for them to shit all over it completely right afterward and make it utterly pointless. But this year, that Battle Royal is going to Mark Henry or Ryback. All depends on if they do that U.S. title match with Ryback. Mark my words. Henry. We had our Divas Championship match. That was another one of these kind of impromptu ones. Charlotte defended against Natalya. We talked about this a little bit earlier for a quick passing comment. Good match, right?
Well, these ladies had a really excellent match at a TakeOver. I forget which one it was exactly, but it was no surprise that they would go out there and do it again. Natty looks like she's getting in better and better shape. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing her popping up a little bit more post-WrestleMania after they get through this triangle storyline. She might be the first challenger afterwards.
Now, I'm kind of assuming here this is what's the path that we have ahead of us. Sasha Banks is winning WrestleMania, right?
I wouldn't be so sure.
Do you think Charlotte will retain?
I think there's a very good chance we could be in for a long Charlotte reign.
Well, Charlotte and Natalya have proven once again here that they have good chemistry together.
Oh, yeah.
And whether it's something with a title on the line or maybe, Sasha Banks beats Charlotte and Charlotte beats Natalya to stay looking strong or something like that, whatever the case may be, these two do consistent good work. And I don't remember having a match, maybe in 2016, really all that much, that I liked as much as this one from the Divas.
Mm-hmm. No, this was fantastic. Really good back and forth. Excellent heel heat built. Excellent babyface heel built. Babyface heat. Babyface heel.
Babyface heat.
Babyface heat built. A lot of sympathy going for Natty throughout this, especially when she started like when she did that figure four and then draped it over the apron, and you just saw Natty's leg just in so much pain and shit. She still fought, and in the end was unable to keep it. She even kicked out of that natural selection, which was a great moment. Crowd was super into it. Really nothing but praise for this match. Like, both of these ladies went out there, delivered on a show that was filled with mostly good matches and still managed to stick out.
And you know what? They could have done something really bad for the Divas here if they really wanted to. Like, this could have been a throwaway Natalya versus Naomi match, or it could have been Bray versus Tamina, or just like the typical shit that we get on Monday Night Raw. And even though technically this kind of was something that we would get on Monday Night Raw, the fact that it was for the championship made it all that much better. And there were people that were really buying into the Natalya having a shot at winning this. So that just goes to show you, if you have two people that go out there, put on a good match, doesn't need to be something that's built up for weeks or months or years or anything like that. It could still be damn good. And poor Natalya for not getting as much credit as she deserves to get a lot of the time. Because this wasn't entirely Charlotte. It's 50-50. And if we can get something this quality or better at WrestleMania, then thumbs up. I'll be happy with that. My favorite part of the match, though, other than what Charlotte and Natalya specifically did, I've really been hating the Ric Flair stuff. And it's overbearing and shit. But there was a comment, and I wish I would have written it down. Somebody, it was JBL or Cole or whatever, obviously, because they were commentary. But when Ric Flair was doing his little dance or something, they were saying, like, oh, like, Charlotte's all business. But not Rick.
I remember the exact quote. So Charlotte had just done some type of executed move. And she's, Cole was like, Charlotte is always in control. And then the camera cuts to Rick while he's doing like his old little dance. Yeah. It's like, unlike her dad.
Yeah. Just like, and then here's this fuck. It's just ridiculous.
Apple falls far from the tree on this one, folks.
I got a chuckle out of me. I thought that was funny. Intentional or not, I laughed at it. Our third to last match? Anything else you want to throw
before out? That match, the original confrontation they had in the back between Natty and Charlotte, Rick was there too. And Natty, of course, provoked Charlotte to do it by saying, oh, all you Flairs, you're all the same, cowards. And Flair was like, what? It's like he was getting ready to like beat up Natty himself.
He's like, lay down so I can elbow drop you. Oh, man. If he returned and did some kind of a match, even though he did that whole thing with Shawn Michaels and stuff, it'd be more interesting than the shit that he does now.
He's going to come back to do a match with Natalya.
Yeah, why not? And she could beat him. Our third to last match of the night was something that we joked about when we were doing our predictions, that they just kept switching this up back and forth over and over. Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar versus Luke Harper. Then that match was supposed to happen on Friday night instead and whatever. Now Bray Wyatt comes out and it's like, hey, this is going to be a handicap match that I'm not going to participate in. Stupid. I thought that this was a huge letdown.
Utter disappointment. Something had to have gone down. Maybe Bray Wyatt got hurt. Maybe Bray Wyatt is on the outs, man. I'm starting to get that feeling. I think he's either like really badly in the doghouse or he's on the outs. Like something isn't right. And you know what? A rumor actually popped out today, and it's like the most uncredulous thing ever. But there's a rumor that someone else submitted their time off, and it was completely like blank on who it could be. But you know what? There's no reason to make it seem like Bray Wyatt's sticking around.
So wait, what was the rumor? Because I didn't come across that.
That someone else is submitted for their release.
Flat out release.
Mm-hmm.
Not like Titus O'Neil with that whole people telling him that he should leave kind of a thing.
No, you know how the rumors were saying that Wade Barrett was leaving. Now they're saying someone else, but they just didn't say anything about who it could be.
Huh.
It was like it was one of those things like, oh, sources say. So like there's nothing backing it whatsoever. But
right.
Now I'm putting everything together. I wouldn't be surprised if Bray Wyatt is someone who could be on his way out.
It is kind of weird that what they've been doing the past month or so has been really lackluster. Like, we were hearing tons of stuff about Braun Strowman getting a huge push and Bray Wyatt fighting Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And it seemed like the Wyatt family were just, like, perpetually always in at least somewhat of a good position. They don't have shit going for them now.
Mm-mm.
And Luke Harper just got destroyed by Brock Lesnar, which, you know,
again,
kind of
Luke
assume.
Harper gets fucked the most out of all this.
He does.
This poor guy. He goes out there, he just gets beaten by Brock Lesnar in 3 minutes like a jabroni.
Total workhorse that gets no credit.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like, if Luke Harper does all the work, Bray's like, oh man, he won that match. And it's, you know, obviously it's kayfabe kind of a thing. Of course, Bray Wyatt's going to get some more credit when it comes to that because he's the leader. But it was like, shit, dude, like, Eric Rowan loses all the matches. Luke Harper does all the work in all the matches, and Bray Wyatt gets all the fucking credit. And Braun Strowman stands there, and everybody goes, oh, look at the bright future this guy has.
You know, the more I think about it, is Wyatt any good anyway?
We go back and forth about him constantly, and
he'll have a good promo here and there, and I think that's what wins us over. And I think we just want to like what he is. You know,
we want somebody with that kind of pizzazz.
Well, like, he's got this dark character. It's very different than anyone else there. He even has like this different body shape and look compared to anyone else we see. It's like this group of uglies that we don't see typically on the main roster, and that's really cool and unique, but it just sucks. Like, I can't think of many Bray Wyatt matches I haven't detested. And his promos range anywhere from, oh, that was pretty cool, to that was so meandering and nonsensical. It pissed me off every second he was talking.
I think Bray Wyatt is better as a concept than an actual person. Like, his matches are never really that good. His promos are either like, oh man, that was really cool, or oh, shut the fuck up. And it's normally like, I want to see Bray Wyatt versus whatever. And then when you actually get it, you go, I don't really want to see this. You know what I mean? Like,
that's exactly what every one of those feuds has been like. Like, how much did everyone want to see Undertaker and Bray Wyatt?
Right.
And then it was like not that fun at all. Like, the best thing we got out of that was like a chair having lightning strike it.
And the idea of Kane versus Bray Wyatt seemed awesome in an Inferno match. And it was like, I don't remember what the fuck happened there.
Oh, that match sucked.
Uh-huh.
That match was fucking terrible.
And the idea of Finn Balor against Bray Wyatt seems like it would be kind of cool. But then you really think about it and you go, well, would it? Because Finn Balor's only the demon on certain events. And he doesn't have a gimmick that goes with the demon. It's just an entrance.
Mm.
And Bray Wyatt would just kind of be like, the demon. And that would be a waste. And
the demon.
Yeah. So this was just like, we already know Brock Lesnar's one of the toughest people in WWE. Beats the shit out of Luke Harper, so Luke Harper doesn't look any better from this. Brock Lesnar really doesn't get that much of a rub, and Bray Wyatt doesn't do shit. So that just means that they might go down the line further with this, and it might be something that fucks up WrestleMania. Because Bray Wyatt had nothing going for him for WrestleMania, and now I'm getting worried.
You know, when that happened, I almost worried that, well, I didn't worry, but I almost actually got a little excited thinking that Dean Ambrose might win the title later. Because this would be a good way to write out the storyline of having Ambrose and Lesnar face each other.
And then just do a triple threat and then do Brock and Bray.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting a little bit worried about that because I really don't want to see Brock and Bray at WrestleMania.
But again, I would have been okay to see Ambrose get that title and go to Mania. I would have been much happier with that. But that's another thing. Anyway, Brock, he basically seemed like he wasted his time putting his trunks on tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks for buying the ticket.
Part of me was thinking that they could salvage it if Bray would have came out, like, you know, we're having this handicap match. He beats the shit out of Luke Harper. Then Bray goes, no. You just beat Luke Harper in this handicap match, but I didn't fight. Now I'm going to fight. And have, like, the idea that Brock Lesnar was fighting 2 matches in a row and he would still end up winning or something like that. But instead, Bray Wyatt just fucking leaves. And it was just like, all right, well, guess this is just going to be a stall. And I'm not interested. WWE wants me to be interested. I'm not. I couldn't care less about what the Wyatt family does at WrestleMania anymore.
My guess, well, someone had pointed out, I don't know if this was fact or not because I was in the middle of making pizza, but while Bray Wyatt was doing his promo to the ring, the reason why this had become a handicap match is that he made a deal. Now, I wonder if that deal is going to have some implications at WrestleMania, Potentially, maybe in that Hell in a Cell match.
Huh.
Just throwing that out there. Or it could be for a number of matches at WrestleMania. It could be the Triple H Roman match.
Or it could, this is a stretch, but it could be something where we get a triple threat match with Brock, Bray, and Dean.
That would be fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
No, not that.
But I mean, if he was doing anything with Bray and the Shane thing, I can't picture Undertaker working with the Wyatt family.
I don't know if it's necessary that it's going to be an Undertaker going against the Wyatt family feud. I think it's more that it's going to be the Wyatt family is under control of Shane McMahon.
Oh, they're working with Shane.
Yes.
Huh. That'd be a little bit different. I don't know if I'd really like it, but it'd be different. And now I'm like even hesitant to say that I would be interested, because every time I say that I'm interested in anything with the Wyatt family, it turns out that it sucks. So.
Well, here's the thing. You know Vince is going to be sending some cronies down. Shane's got to have some people backing him up too. Now, there's a few options he has to me. He has Mean Street Posse, and I think we will see them, but I think they're going to be quickly dispensed. They're not going to be a serious threat.
You actually think we're going to see them?
Oh, yeah.
I don't at all.
Not all of them, but the two ones that were like his friends, I think we'll see them. Dude, think about last year when we had Sting versus Triple H. That match was all gimmick.
Yeah, but those guys were all people that are like tight together and stuff. And...
yeah, and that's what we're gonna get with Shane and Undertaker here. This is gonna be a very, very gimmick match, and I think we're gonna see a lot of involvement from a lot of people outside of it. So, I'm sure they'll be sending the usual authority goons down. We'll probably see like
Pat Patterson and Gerald
Big Show. Yo, maybe. Maybe they're the ones who are going to come fight off the fucking Mean Street Posse. That'd be fucking amazing.
I'm not going to lie, I would kind of pop. Just to see them, like...
And you know what? They got to come down to Real American.
Hulk Hogan got a mention tonight.
Did he?
Yeah, Michael Cole threw his name out there.
I knew they were going to get back in each other's good graces sooner than later.
Probably because they heard what crazy shit was happening with that Gawker trial. They're like, anyway, that Hogan with his 10-inch dick.
I wouldn't be surprised if Shane brings in like a Big Show on his behalf too.
Yeah, I can see Big Show being a part.
But I think Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family are a completely capable option. Like maybe he sees them as guns for hire.
Then again, a lot of people are thinking that Bulletproof's going to be a part of it.
That's another option as well. Yes.
Which, if that's the case, that's what. Technically, that's Balor and
Anderson
and Gallows.
And Gallows.
I don't think Styles will be a part of it. So that's three of them right there.
You could recruit him later.
Yeah.
But man, that's just so much intrigue for that match. And with the Wyatt family not really doing anything, like you really got to be suspicious of them. So it's funny because I have suspicions of Bray Wyatt both having a major role at WrestleMania and also being fired soon.
Maybe it's both. Maybe he's having a retirement match at WrestleMania. But Brock obviously easily wins that match. Then we had another impromptu match, Sami Zayn against Stardust, which a pretty good mid-card match. Not really as impressive as a lot of the other things we saw on this show, but...
dude, I tuned out during this match.
Yeah, it was just a good idea to have Zayn come out there and wrestle and win.
No, okay, we all like Sami Zayn and we all like Cody Rhodes, but let's just be honest, this sucked.
See, I wouldn't go so far as to say it sucked. It was alright.
Dude, Sami Zayn is freaking fat. Stardust has no motivation right now. The commentary didn't know what the hell to talk about because there was no story for this match. This sucked.
I do agree. Sami Zayn's a little out of shape looking. Also, when he came out and he's got the hat on, man, no wonder Vince McMahon doesn't buy into a lot of these people. He looks like a jackass. I'm a fan of the guy, but like, if you want to try to say that Vince McMahon always wants to have people that he thinks can win in a fight, now Sami Zayn can beat my ass, I'm sure. Much tougher than I am. But he doesn't look like he really is that much. So, he's got a weird look to him, I don't know. I've been wanting Stardust to end for months. Just bring Cody back.
And Stardust looks like he's been wanting to end for months. He just comes out, kill me.
Oh, I hate this Stardust shit. Why is my move still the Queen's crossbow? It's ridiculous. But I like that they showed Sami Zayn off here. The crowd popped. You know, these Canadian guys, so they like that. Meh. Meh is like best, I guess you could say. William Carey says, bring back the Rhodes Scholars. I don't think they're going to be doing that.
I'm good on that. It was fun for one run.
Shit, you have to bring back Damian Sandow to begin with.
I'm very rarely a fan of bringing back anything. You could reinvent something. Preferably try to do something new.
Well, see, Rhodes Scholars, to me, that was, like, at best, a makeshift tag team that could eat up a little bit of time. I didn't really buy into them a whole lot.
Just the guy kicked off WrestleMania card. Like, they couldn't have been that important.
Yeah, that's true. Although that match should have happened, amongst other things. Like, better lines, and better food, and pyro. And America the Beautiful.
Man, we're going to be still, like, ripping on this fucking terrible WrestleMania years down the road. That WrestleMania fucking sucked.
It's going to be WrestleMania 39, and we're going to be like, 10 years ago, this one WrestleMania happened, and it fucking sucked. The best part was eating burgers in the fucking parking lot.
Burgers and cake.
Yeah, it's burgers and cake. It wasn't even their burgers and cake.
I had to bring the burgers and cake.
Yeah.
And then we saw
the best shit at WrestleMania is
what
that we brought shit there. God damn it, WWE, I want my money back. You can pay me in SummerSlam tickets. How about that?
Oh, that sounds good.
Good tickets. Like front row. And Carmella can make out with me. WWE World Heavyweight Championship was the final match of the night. Triple H defended against Dean Ambrose. Damn good match. And my first note that I wrote down about this was Dean Ambrose is a fucking star. This dude gets it. And we went through this big change over and over again when it came to the Shield, where it was like, Ambrose is clearly going to be the main event guy. And then Seth Rollins comes out and it's like, oh shit, Seth Rollins wins the title. Well, that's kind of weird. Wait, Roman Reigns is clearly going to be the main event guy.
Oh, we all knew. I always knew it was going to be Roman.
Here's Dean Ambrose just proven over and over again that he is like, he's exactly what they want in a star, yet they don't want him to be the guy. It's so weird. And was it you that specifically brought it out, that it was like, here's the reaction that Roman should have been getting? Or was it somebody else? I can't remember for sure.
I don't think I said those words exactly, but I had said something like, he's such an oddity. He's a baby face that's actually being cheered and liked.
And you know what's weird?
Not many of them are like that. You know, people like the either the odd tweeters or even the heels are who usually gets cheered by people. There's no pure baby faces that are people super behind.
Right. And the crowd still was a little bit split. There were a lot of, let's go Ambrose, Triple H, let's go Ambrose, Triple H. And if that's the case with Ambrose, Reigns is going to get slaughtered at WrestleMania.
Oh, Triple H is going to be the fucking hero at WrestleMania. Are you fucking kidding me?
This just proves it right here, though.
This is why I almost think he's going to win. Like, people are going to fucking despise Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and if they think it's going to be anything different, they are out of their cotton-picking minds. Thank God, last year, they had the fucking Money in the Bank card to get themselves out of that fucking shithole they booked themselves into. And they're making the same mistake this year, and I really hope to God they didn't have Dean Ambrose win this match to try to fix it. But they better have something else, because Roman Reigns is going to get eaten alive at WrestleMania.
And it's a shame, because Roman Reigns is so much better than a lot of people give him credit for. But still, like, this dude is just not getting over as much as they want him to. No. And as much as they want to, you know, plug up their ears and just be like, la 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 la, I hear a bunch of cheers, I don't know what you guys are booing for. You can't do it and expect that to happen at WrestleMania. This is going to be one of those times where people are going to look back and they're going to go, maybe that Undertaker match should go on last.
I actually think it is.
It probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Because, man, if Reigns gets booed out of the building to end WrestleMania, it wouldn't be as bad if the rest of the card had as much momentum going for it. But the general atmosphere for this WrestleMania is just oh, that's gonna suck. And it's not even in the same capacity as the last 2 years where everybody was like, oh, well, I'm mad that this is going to happen, but this match looks okay, and this match looks okay, but damn it, Daniel Bryan isn't there, and they ended up pulling it out, and they still could. It's a possibility. But everybody seems to be in the same idea where they're just like, well, everybody's injured, and they're kind of rushing, and nobody really cares, and the main event's going to be blah, and whatever, and maybe I'll skip WrestleMania, and I mean, I wrote up an article a night or two ago. I was trying to think of something to write, and I was trying to base it around Roadblock, and I was like, well, maybe I'll write about, like, what's my most anticipated match, and what's whatever, and I'm like, I'm not really looking that forward to Roadblock. But then I started thinking about WrestleMania, and I ended up writing, within, like, a 5-6 minute period, this paragraph after paragraph thing of just, if WrestleMania 32 sucks, is that okay? Are people going to be like, all right, well, we'll give it to you because the build for this one was, like, impossible. But they're not going to be able to accept Roman Reigns winning that at the end. That's going to piss people off.
What if that match went on first?
Huh. I don't know. Like, part of me would be pissed that would be first.
What if that match went on first? Triple H wins, and Dean Ambrose, like, bumps into him backstage, and he says, oh, good job, champ, like, because he probably, like, won by some kind of bullshit means. And somehow Triple H ends up making, well, whoever wins Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose, I'll fight them again in the main event tonight.
Yeah, because he, like, gets his manhood kind of tested.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Triple H is always the guy susceptible to that. You never freaking call out Triple H for being chicken or anything like that. Just like Ric Flair.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he goes, yeah, Triple H, yeah, real fucking manly man winning that match by DQ, you fucking coward. And then Ric Flair pops him out of nowhere. What? He's not a fucking coward.
You're the coward.
Yeah. You're the boss.
Yeah, and then Dean Ambrose wins his match with Brock Lesnar. Probably, like, has to come out later with, like, a sling and an eye patch, like his legs sewn back on. But then he comes out and has to fight Triple H in the main event, and then pulls that out. How would that be for a WrestleMania ending?
I'd be cool with it. It's a little WrestleMania 30, but I'm fine with it. And you know what? Even cooler would be to follow that up with Roman Reigns turning heel because he's pissed that he couldn't get it done, and he's mad at Ambrose.
It all comes together so well. Like Kenneth Cage saying Dean Ambrose could come out of an ambulance again.
Both times, right? He comes out from the ambulance to congratulate Triple H. Then he wrestles the Brock Lesnar match and gets taken away in an ambulance and then comes back afterward in a different ambulance. It's just like his new entrance. Like how Del Rio came out with the car. Ambrose keeps coming out with ambulances.
Actually, wouldn't be too bad.
I can see some kind of t-shirt ideas forming in my brain right now. AMB from Ambrose and AMB from Ambulance.
You'd have to give him Cesaro's theme, though.
But without all the... Just... What are we talking about? Okay.
That's the main event of Roadblock.
Ambrose versus Triple H. False finishes were really cool. Good old John Cone doing a great job with the whole 1, 2, 3. No, I'm kidding. Kind of thing.
This was a classic, like, 90s style match. Yeah, I think Triple H probably, like, sat him back there and, like, told him to watch a match with Triple H and Stone Cold. He's like, all right, this is what we're going to do tonight.
And you know what? This is the second time that Dean Ambrose has, quote unquote, won that title.
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, they really tease that. And it gets the fans so into that. Like, I mean, I'll admit, like, I'm writing up notes, I'm trying to do live coverage, I'm partially, like, dividing my time a little bit here and there, so I'm not paying, like, 100% total eyes laser focused on the screen. I've got it up on my screen, split screen kind of a thing, but I'm watching and I'm like, okay, he's going to kick out, so I look to the right side of my screen to write down a little bit of a note, and I hear 3, and I was like, the fuck? I was like, what? It got me for a second there.
I'm just throwing it out there. Anytime they do anything like that, it's a test.
What do you mean, like a test to see the reaction for if Ambrose actually won?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's got to be. And this is the second time in a row where they've done this, and it's gotten one of the biggest pops of, like, the year.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to win this belt in 2016. Maybe twice.
2016 may be the year every Shield member holds that belt.
Could be a possibility. We already know that Reigns held it.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Rollins, when he comes back, he's going to be fucking huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he'll be the same size as
probably
before.
be fat like Sami Zayn from being with him so long.
Well, I guess angry, hungry, whatever, all these other kind of things we were talking about. But yeah, Ambrose, this could be his year. I forgot. It's like 30 things now. Brian Brain threw it out there. Yeah, the fans are going to just explode. Like, when he actually wins that, it's going to be nuts. Kenny K throwing out something. You guys think the main event for WrestleMania 33 will be the triple threat with the 3 members of the Shield? I don't know. We've been thinking about that for a while. And it's a possibility for sure. But I don't think so.
Wait, that's next year's, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a total possibility for it.
It's without a doubt one of their best options. But I don't think it will be. I'm going out on a limb, and I'm thinking, and this is so like, WrestleMania 32 doesn't even have enough matches on the card yet, so like, don't bet any money on this happening or whatever. I'm thinking at the very least right now, Seth Rollins wins the Royal Rumble as a babyface and challenges for the title. But I don't think it's going to be the 2 other members of the Shield. I don't know who that person is, but, you know.
You think it'll be like Seth Rollins versus Rusev?
Nah. Rusev ain't holding that title.
Really?
Nope.
You still think he's incapable of getting it? What about Ryback?
No, I don't think Ryback's getting it either. I think Ryback's going to be fodder for Roman Reigns. Build him up a little bit right now, have Roman Reigns beat him over the course of 2-3 pay-per-views. That'll be it. Could be Kevin Owens. Owens wins like Money in the Bank, maybe? Do Owens going into WrestleMania as the champion, Seth Rollins going in as the challenger?
Oh, the brain says Braun Strowman.
Oh, fuck no. Don't give me that back. Jesus Christ. Give me Rock and Brock, if the match that I really don't want to see. Give me that over that.
AJ Styles.
If we get Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania, people are going to go fucking nuts.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, at a house show in Atlantic City, New Jersey, they were running 2 shows concurrent tonight, which is why a lot of stars were not at Roadblock tonight. They were at this other show. And the main event of that show was Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles in a 30-minute Iron Man match for the Intercontinental title.
Damn, that sounds awesome.
What the fuck? Yeah, right? Why didn't we get that?
Now, overall, I liked Roadblock, but shit. Yeah. Now I'm disappointed.
No, I can't hate Roadblock at all, but when you hear that was on the plate at the other show, it's like, damn.
Yeah. Well, overall thoughts, what do you think about Roadblock? Was this something that it was good that they threw that out there, or was this something that kind of actually did get in the way of the plans and it could take away from WrestleMania?
Not at all. This was a very worthy show. I had fun watching it. It helped set up a lot of things for WrestleMania, which is what it should have done. Triple H looks a bit stronger. He's taken out a very worthy opponent. Dean Ambrose has shown that he has the heart of a champion. He was unable to come through in this match, but maybe on another night he probably could have. We got some other interesting things. Charlotte, especially, I think, is someone who came out looking really strong tonight, able to pull out in her match. I really don't have any hate for this. It was a great event to watch. Very worthy of putting together, especially because it didn't seem like it took too much. They had a smaller set. They didn't go too crazy with lighting. There was no pyro, but this wasn't WrestleMania, so it was okay. I had fun.
Overall, I like this too. And I'm surprised because I liked Fastlane better than I thought I was going to. I liked this better than I thought I was going to.
I've generally liked these network specials. The only one that was kind of blah was that MSG one.
Which, I don't know if that's a case where we're going into them with low expectations and that's why they're ended up better. Or if maybe they're putting a little bit more effort into them when the show actually happens because they realize that these are special things that only the network people see.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. These are not Raw. These are not story-heavy shows. These aren't things that are filled with promos. They aren't filled with goofy, dumb segments. These are very wrestling-heavy shows. And these are almost treated like house shows, which is where these people generally go out and work some of their best matches. It's also where they'll experiment with a lot of things and do things different. And I think, especially being on the network, they don't feel tied to TV, or they don't have to take commercial breaks. They can end whenever they need to, so they can tell a story exactly how they want. Like, this is the future of all pay-per-views. I think I'll be happy today when they drop the major pay-per-view providers and they just go all by themselves.
I'd be cool with it. Because really, how many people are really buying that now?
Enough, and they still get more money from those than they do from the network subscriptions.
That's true.
So I understand why they still do it. But even though it's fun, they make you feel like such an idiot if you do. It's like, hey,
yeah,
are you paying $60 on DirecTV? Asshole. You could be 10 with fucking WWE Network.
To be fair, though, if you're somebody who does that, you are stupid. Why wouldn't you spend 6 times the amount of money for less? Here we are shilling the network.
Well, no, I've done that since day one, man. The WWE Network is the best value for any wrestling fan out there.
It is.
There's no arguments for me with anything. Even if I don't like every bit of content they put out there, cool little things like this, the main pay-per-views, archive footage going back to watch any old pay-per-view, or even Raws now they're putting a big library of, WCW shows, ECW shows, documentaries, original new series. I mean, not everyone's a big fan of Edge and Christian, or I'm excited to see that Camp WWE show. Like, there's just so much going on there, and for only $10 a month, I cannot. When you compare it to the pay-per-view alone is $60,
right?
How can anyone say that's not a value?
Even the ease of just being able to hop on and do like the Smark announce tables that we've done, where it's just like, okay, well, we all just log into the network and go to the same time code of Royal Rumble 98 or whatever, and we don't have to like, all right, let's try to find something on Daily Motion and let's try to get some decent quality torrent or whatever.
Yeah, and versatility. You can watch it on anything. If someone needs, they can watch it on their PlayStation, they can watch it on their iPad, they can watch it on their laptop.
Yeah. So, network specials, still doing pretty damn well. Roadblock is a success. I think that I'd be okay with Roadblock happening again next year if they pull out something similar like this. And it kind of depends. I sort of don't want them to keep Fastlane, but I like the Roadblock name better.
I really think they're pushing this whole Road to WrestleMania gimmick too far.
Yeah, merge the two.
I could do without that. I could do without either of them. But the idea of having this special event at this time, I mean, it was originally called March to WrestleMania, which was kind of lame too, but whatever it is, that's fine.
I'd be okay with them getting rid of Fastlane and having Roadblock. Just like towards the end of February, put that out there as like, here's the kind of like, I liked what this was more than Fastlane, because Fastlane felt like it needed to be a big pay-per-view, but it clearly wasn't. And this didn't seem like it was supposed to be, and it felt bigger. So if they do something more along the lines like this, where it's just like, hey, here's a little bit of an extra show, something important could happen, and it could be like the perfect time for somebody to switch like the US title or something. Like, I would have been cool with Ryback beating Kalisto here. I would have been fine with that. It wouldn't have been like, oh, why didn't you do this at Fastlane or something? But if you want to do something like this and kick off the Fastlane thing, so you don't have to put as much of an emphasis on there to be like, now we need to do a number 1 contenders match for the 3rd year in a row or whatever like that, then I think that's a better option. And hopefully, now that they've kind of like, they've made a better Roadblock logo and they've sort of got the graphics down and stuff like that, maybe that'll be something that they do going forward. Thumbs up if that's the case. So, I guess the last thing for us to do for this is just throw out some promotional stuff. So, Peyton, what do you want to toss out there for the people?
Everyone should keep staying tuned to all the cool things we got here on Mega Powers Radio. We do these post shows for all the major WWE events and NXT events. We also do them for Raw every single Monday following the following when it goes off the air. I host that one there. We had the Daceman show, which is in the middle of a 24-hour game-a-thon. So if you're listening to this live, as soon as you finish, you should head over to Twitch and search for Daceman show, because they're doing a 24-hour gaming marathon to raise money for a charity for a good cause. So even if you just want to donate $1 or $2, whatever you can spare to help out, they've already beat their goal, I believe, but surpassing it, it's always more awesome. So go support them. They're definitely getting into the late night hours now. This is some of the toughest parts to keep going through a 24-hour marathon. They could use the love. Speaking of Twitch, you can also find me on Twitch at MRPADEN. That's Mr. Payton, where I do a lot of FMV games, simulator games, point-and-click games, fun stuff like that. So join me there.
As Payton just mentioned, the Daceman's Gameathon is going on right now. I got to head back there once I get done editing this. So if you have any games that you want us to play, go ahead and throw that out there because we would like the suggestions and stuff. And as he mentioned, go ahead and donate. I think the last time that I checked our total, we were at 1,600 something, which is past our 1,500 goal. And the more that we get, the better because, obviously charities for a good cause and everything like that. And Dace had just put something out recently. We're still giving away some prizes. So if people are interested in possibly winning any of those, he's going to add a couple more if we reach 2,000. So
nice.
A little bit of an incentive to be able. Yeah, a little bit of an ascension or inception. For Smark Out Moment stuff, go to smarkoutmoment.com. Check out the Smack Talk podcast, which will be coming up a little bit later on this week. This week, we're going to be doing Hall of Fame talk. So we're going to go over some of the people that are going to be announced for the 2016 Hall of Fame for WWE. But we're also going to be talking about the Smark Out Moment Hall of Fame class of 2016. And we got some ideas already that are locked down and you guys have voted. So we took all that into account. And we're going to announce some of those nominees a little bit later on over the next couple of days or so. So pay attention to the Mega Maniacs on Facebook for more information when it comes to that, as well as the Facebook and Twitter accounts and so on and so forth like that. Subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, all those avenues. And go to fanboysanonymous.com for the geek culture stuff. And whatever else is happening, A Mango Tree and Tony Mango on social media. Thank you all for listening to the Roadblock 2016 pay-per-view post-show. And we'll see you next time, everybody. This is Tony Mango saying it's another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.